Good evening, and welcome to St. Peter's Hove once again for our next step along the journey through St. Mark's Gospel's Passion narrative. We were just looking at that passage where Pontius Pilate hands Jesus over to the crowd, or not hands over Jesus to the crowd, sorry, he gives in to the crowd, hands Jesus over to be crucified. He offers them the choice between Barabbas and Jesus, and they take Barabbas. Now, we've talked about the character of Barabbas last night. Tonight, I just want to fix on the character of Pilate, because this is the last we'll see of Pilate in St. Mark's Gospel. What sort of man is Pilate? Well, he's supposed to be the Roman procurator. That's basically a governor. He is the representative of Roman power. And in this passage, he completely abdicates his power to the mob. He allows the mob to decide. He miscalculates, of course, because clearly he wants the mob to choose Jesus. And he even sort of argues with the mob and says, but what am I to do with Jesus whom you call the Christ, and so on. And surely he has done, what am I to do with the man you call King of the Jews? Pilate then asks, what harm has he done? So Pilate starts arguing with the crowd. Very foolish thing to do, because the crowd is completely irrational. Mobs have no rationality. We know this. And therefore, Pilate gives into mob rule. Now, the most obvious thing we can say about Pilate, therefore, he's extremely stupid and extremely weak. He's stupid because he gives the power of decision to the mob, not knowing which way the mob will decide. And he's weak in that he refuses to stand up to the mob. When the mob say, crucify him, he meekly gives in. He says, seeing that Sir Pilate anxious to placate the crowd. Why is he so anxious to placate the crowd? What does he care about public opinion? Well, he doesn't want a riot on his hands or whatever. He is weak. So the characterization of Pilate is as a very weak man, not necessarily a wicked man. However, as Christians, as when we look at this, we see his weakness as, in fact, a form of wickedness. To be good, first of all, you have to be courageous. To do good deeds, you have to cultivate the virtue of courage. That means to say, you must not be put off by other people. You must not be browbeaten by other people. You must hold to the truth and act in accordance with the truth, even if you're in a minority of one. This is extremely difficult to do in these days. In fact, what we have here is the equivalent of what I believe is called a Twitter storm. A whole load of people calling for somebody to be executed on Twitter or whatever. This is what they're doing here, but they're shouting and screaming in real life. Nowadays, it's easy to shout and scream on social media, particularly if you're anonymous. And of course, one of the things about the crowd, the reason why they shout and scream for somebody's death, is because they are anonymous. The people in the crowd lose their individuality and lose their individual sense of responsibility. So this shows us the madness of crowds, but it also shows us the weakness of Pilate and the wickedness of Pilate. There's no doubt about it, Pilate is a very wicked man, as are those political leaders nowadays who know what the right thing is, but will not stand up for the truth because they're frightened of public opinion. And of course, nowadays, people in political office are elected. Pilate was not elected. So Pilate has even less excuse. Yes, we have to listen to the electors, but at the same time, everybody in political office needs to follow their conscience and not give in to the most widely held opinion of the public. Now, the crowd is wrong about Barabbas and Jesus. They are wrong to demand Christ's death. Absolutely wrong. Don't forget, the crowd in the past has been wrong about virtually everything. They were wrong back in the day to support slavery. They were wrong back in the day to, during the Titus Oates riots, for example, to burn down Catholic property. They were wrong in that to support the death penalty. Generally speaking, it's until very recently, I think, but even today, the vast majority of people in Britain support the death penalty. Well, they're wrong to do so. What we need, what people should have had from Pontius Pilate, is a bit of moral leadership. It was lacking. So let's remember this. We're called to be courageous and virtuous. We're called to do the right thing. So let us pray that we may have the courage to do the right thing and stand up to the mob. All the best. We'll be back on this little scene again tomorrow. Bye for now.